So
real quick, before I begin, how many of you are familiar with any of the beverages up here? Maybe just put your hands, had them before? Okay. So that'll give you an idea for what it is that I'm going to talk about. So I claim that the New York City soda ban ought to be abolished. Now, what is it? A little background. This was an idea proposed by Mayor Michael Bloomberg to help battle the rising obesity rates in New York City. So, any location is regulated by the New York City Department of Health is prohibited to sell sweetened beverages in containers larger than 16 ounces. Each of the containers you see before you is larger than 16 ounces. So, let's take a look at some of the places that will get affected. Restaurants, movie theaters, sports arenas, delis, fast food franchises, and even street carts and small mom-and-pop stores. Small mom-and-pop stores are like general goods stores, small corner stores that we find in the city. Now, there are 3 exceptions to that. The first exception are diet sodas, fruit juices that are more than 70% real fruit juice, dairy-based drinks such as milkshakes, and alcoholic beverages. Now the next exception are drinks with fewer than 25 calories per 8 ounces. So many of you may be surprised to see the Gatorade up here, because we don't really think Gatorade being sugary, but to Mayor Michael Bloomberg, it shouldn't be sold and contain more than 16 ounces. Per 8-ounce serving, Gatorade has 50 calories. Next, grocery stores and convenience stores are not regulated by the New York City Department of Health. Therefore, they're an exception. I contend this to be the biggest exception, and this will come back up later in the presentation during my opposing arguments. So, real quick, it's important to understand what obesity is before I talk about the obesity rates. And in terms of obesity as we talked about today, it's considered 35 pounds overweight. So that's for your reference. Now, in New York City, since 2002, obesity has skyrocketed 22%. It's ironic because that is the year that Mayor Michael Bloomberg took over in office. Now, currently, as of 2012, 40% of New Yorkers are obese or overweight. Now, these statistics take into account individuals that are aged 20 and older. So, to exemplify really how high this percentage is, let's compare it to the 2012 rate for the country. Now, in the United States, as of 2012, about 34.9% of all people, all individuals were obese. So that puts New York at about 5% above it, showing why Mayor Bloomberg felt that something needed to be done. Now that we understand why he wanted to implement this ban, let's look at some of the arguments for the ban. Now, first, general argument, it's just going to cut down obesity rates in New York City. They claim that it's going to lead to a healthier population, and that will ultimately save lives. These are contentions to make. Now, one supporter of this is Kelly Brownell, and she's the director of the Rudd Center for Food Policy and Obesity at Yale University. Now, she claims you don't feel as full when you consume calories. So basically, she supports this ban because she says it's easier to overdrink and overeat, and people often don't realize this. So that's why she supports this. And now that we understand a little bit about why people support it and why they think it's a good idea, let's get into why it's really not a good idea. So, let's get into why this is truly not a good idea. And my first argument against the ban is that I think people are going to substitute for certain things. I claim that people drink soda not necessarily because it's good for you, but because you enjoy it. And I'm sure every one of you, when you grab a soda, you think, you know, this isn't the best for me, but I enjoy this, so I'm going to buy this. Now, people are merely going to, if they have less selection available, they're going to substitute candy bars, chips, any other stuff. Next argument is from Jay DeBose, and he is the Director of Health for the National Restaurant Association. And he claims that it's not reasonable to blame precise one harm. He doesn't think it's fair to just target soda. Why punish the beverage industries? What about cheeseburgers? What about french fries? Chips? Candy? These all contribute to obesity rates. In fact, while we're at it, why not abolish McDonald's as a whole? I mean, I could stand up here and make the contention that McDonald's is bad for you and that all the food that you know could lead to obesity. That's the argument we take away from it. Next is our biggest argument. People will merely go elsewhere. They'll go elsewhere to find different sizes. Now, we understand previously that convenience stores and grocery stores are exempt. Because they're exempt, they now have a competitive advantage against small businesses and cart vendors. They can exploit a different market. They can promote value. They can say, we can offer this at 50 ounces for this price, whereas here you may be only be able to get it for 16 ounces and under. So they can advertise convenience and value, which is a big market advantage. But the fourth argument compares to the third argument. The NAACP claims that this is unfair to people of color. Now, they make this contention stating that the majority of mom and pop stores, they don't give a particular number when they give the reason. But the majority of mom and pop stores and cart vendors are owned by people of color. And that implementing this ban would essentially be detrimental to people of color in New York City. Therefore, they stand against it. Now, my final argument is that it's unconstitutional. That the NAACP paired with the American Medical Association, they took this to court. And when it was taken to court, it was ultimately stricken down. Now, it was stricken down because the court felt that it violated state principles of separation of powers. And what does that mean simply? They felt that the City Board of Health, the group that passed the ban, they felt that they went too far with their authority and that they ultimately exceeded their power. That's why it was stricken down. Now, you may ask yourself, where is it now? Well, New York City officials appealed the decision. So they disagreed with the decision and they thought it needed to be reviewed again. So they appealed it. And the New York State's highest court, the New York State Court of Appeals, which is actually located right here in Albany, now they agreed to review the appeal. Now the final decision is expected by next year. And by next year, Mayor Michael Bloomberg will ultimately be out of office. So it will be the new mayor's duty to figure out whether or not he would like to continue the appeal or revoke it and ultimately toss the ban to the side. Now it's evident that I'm against the ban. So it only makes sense that I stand before you and make a few suggestions about what do I think should be done. Well, I think that we put more money into physical education programs. Unlike Mayor Bloomberg, I don't want to cover up the problem. Let's start at this cost. So let's start your kids, K through 12. People mandated to be in school. We have their time, we have their attention. So let's focus on putting more nutritional information into the curriculum and make a more rigid physical education. A great example of this is Let's Move, a program by Michelle Obama, and she focuses on putting more nutritional information into the curriculum. Next, I promote increased advertising. Mayor Bloomberg and the City Board of Health have already done a wonderful job of increasing advertising in the city. I've been to the city in recent months and seen advertising such as this. Now, keep that up. I think they should put more money into it. Because what happens is people see it and eventually it's doing something. Eventually people are going to go to buy soda and they're going to think about this and that again. And maybe it will persuade them to go and get water instead. So, in conclusion, soup with other sugary snacks, that people will go elsewhere to buy products, that it's unfair to small businesses and minority-owned businesses, and finally that it's unconstitutional. So I would urge the next mayor, whoever it is, to ultimately repeal the ban, to pull back the appeal, and ultimately relinquish the ban. Thank you.
Questions? Put it on me all day? Come on. So you're saying that you can drink a large beer more than 16 ounces,
Yes, that's the
but you
exception.
can't drink soda?
That's the exception, yes.
No, that's kind of crazy. In the event that the court overrules, do you think other cities would take this on?
Yes. I didn't include this in the presentation, but other cities such as San Francisco, I know that area after is generally much healthier to begin with, but there are always looking for programs like this, and that was one area that people thought would be a nice target area. But that was the big issues. We talked about not only going to other cities here, but Mayor Bloomberg trying to extend his influence through his philanthropy into other countries, such as Dubai, et cetera.
I kind of feel he's trying to do just kind of what you alluded to in here, just to get people aware of it, make the awareness. And by doing this, he probably got more publicity than he could have ever gotten by the ads. So now when you see the ads, you make a connection with them. You know, would be my thing. I mean, he's got so much money that he could sort of do this. You know, that's just my opinion. But you have a feel on that? I mean, it's not really a question, but.
I think that, obviously, if he's going through so much trouble, I think that he really wants to see this go through. I mean, to the point where no matter what, he's made his point, no matter what, people are up in arms about being told what to do. But ultimately, I think that he's going to keep pushing for this. Like I said, they brought up the in Court of Appeals. He's strongly encouraging the next mayoral candidate to do this. So I think that he really does want to go through. But no matter what, it's plenty of debate.
Thank you.